I got a story that came to me today from a company called Link2, Linqto. And this Link2 is a place where you can go to buy pre-IPO stocks. So companies that aren't on the market yet,
okay,
as part of the be regularly traded.
What's IPO?
Initial public offering.
Okay.
So a company goes IPO, it goes public, gets on the stock exchange.
So it's pre-public.
Pre-IPO. So where did they get these stocks from? Usually they get them from employees who have stock options. And these employees who have stock options, they need cash, and they don't know that their company's ever going to turn into anything. I had stock options once of a pre-IPO company. I didn't know that I could sell them to a company like this and somebody else would have bought them, because then they actually would have been worth something, unlike now they're worthless. So this company called Link2, they sell pre-IPO stock, and I've been following this one company called Ripple.
Okay.
You may have heard of Ripple.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, they're decentralized finance, and the SEC is suing them now. And the
SCC? What
SEC? The Security Exchange Commission?
Okay, now I know.
Government regulators are suing Ripple. And they've been suing each other for a while. The thing has been just dragging on.
Because they're
trying to use, this is my opinion, I think that they're trying to use the Ripple lawsuit to bring in regulation. So I think the whole thing was a setup from the beginning, because I think XRP is being selected by so many foreign central banks to be the method of financial exchange in cryptocurrency.
Okay.
That I think that they knew Ripple was going to be it. They're suing, they're stalling until they can get their shit together. And now
stuff together.
Now they're getting their shit together. I don't care what anybody says. This was a stall tactic, it seems to me, because now all of a sudden, here's the headline.
The Daily Unicorn.
You know who that is? Jerome Powell. You know who he is? The dude who prints the money? You know who he is.
I didn't know he's the one that prints the money.
No, not
at the Reserve.
Not himself. I mean, he doesn't actually print the money himself, but
working for you.
You know, he says when the money's getting printed. Anyway, Jerome Powell has said, let's get DeFi regulation.
Definancing.
D stands for decentralized.
Decentralized finance.
Let's regulate decentralized. So we have centralized regulation.
Okay.
And that's what we got now, because we had centralized banks. So people came up with Bitcoin to go decentralized, to say, you know what? No, we don't want it to be held by the central banks. So now they got this thing called DeFi. They started calling it DeFi, deregulated, decentralized finance.
So it just kind of rolls off the tongue.
So the guy running the central bank wants to regulate the decentralized way that people are trying to figure out how to use cryptocurrency.
Okay, so let me just put this in Nicole terms here.
Okay, put it in Nicole terms.
Okay. There's an option to invest in stocks or sell stocks before they become stocks. Okay.
Before they become publicly traded stocks.
Publicly traded stocks.
They're private stocks.
Okay. And this guy who is in charge of the actual paper money is saying, let's sue Ripple, which is a company that you can do this through, because we want to create an example and make regulations for decentralized coin.
Sort of. The SEC is not the Fed. Jerome Powell's running the Fed, which is a private bank, but it's the central bank. And they want to come up with a CBDC, central bank digital currency.
What?
Listen, Mr. Engineer, when you're doing the edit, put that at the bottom. Central bank digital currency.
Just the acronyms. Like, you have to be educated in all these different types of acronyms.
Okay.
Holy moly.
So I was mentioning the company that allows you to buy pre-IPO stock, Link2, Linqto, and I'll put the link down in the bottom here so that any of our viewers can click on this if they want to buy some pre-IPO. You got to be an accredited investor. They don't let just anybody buy pre-IPO non-public stocks. But you can get accredited by either taking a course or showing you have more than $1 million in net worth.
Okay, so what's the problem with him trying to make an example of him?
Well, they want to roll out a central bank digital currency. In other words, they want to get rid of the paper dollar and they want to replace that with a Bitcoin type dollar, but not Bitcoin.
So then everything's digital.
So everything's digital.
You know what scares me about that?
Yeah, what? The mark of the beast?
I recently watched Handmaid's Tale. Okay, at least the first season. And for anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's like a dystopian society. Anyway, one of the first signs was they cut off everybody's credit cards because it was all digital. And then they sat there on the phones for hours and hours and hours trying to reach their bank to get their money back. Just like that, their credit cards were just completely cut off. Like, that scares me. You don't have any cash. You don't have anything to fall back on. No gold, no silver. And they can just cut it off like that.
Yeah, and you can't buy food.
You can't buy food. You can't buy shelter. You can't go anywhere. No gas.
Right.
That freaks me out.
It should. It's extremely scary.
So then
people are saying that Bitcoin can't be controlled that way because Bitcoin is between you and me. And the only way to shut off Bitcoin is to shut off the entire internet because it's not centralized. Mm-hmm. But there's all these other currencies out there like XRP, which is probably going to be the CBDC digital currency that they're going to pick. I mean, a bunch of other countries have already picked XRP to be their CBDC or their method of exchange across countries, cross-border
international
exchange. Right, how this
coin.
Country trades with this country.
Right.
That's like going to be the Rosetta Stone, if you will. Like, so if the Philippines has its own currency and Switzerland has its own, they're going to exchange in XRP, which will work in any country. That'll be like the universal language.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So they need you know how you need a universal language.
Yeah.
So right now that is pretty much they call it the petrodollar.
But he's trying to
dollar.
regulate it.
Right. So Jerome Powell wants to regulate decentralized. I just thought that this was a really cool headline that we want to centralize decentralized finance.
The oxymorons.
Yeah, you see how that goes?
Okay.
All right, so we're going to watch that story and see how it turns out. But check out XRP and Ripple and Link to if you haven't. We'll put the links down below.